Oasis Audio presents The Prince of Peril by Otis Adelbert Kline. Read for you by John Mclain. Forward. Many people have asked me how I came to write The Swordsmen of Mars, The Outlaws of Mars, and The Planet of Peril, and have wondered why the character of Dr. Morgan appears in all of them. It was all right for the first story, one reader complained, but it begins to get a bit thick the third time. I hope you're not going to do it again. Another thought that Dr. Morgan really belonged in the series, but that there wasn't enough of him. I should justify his continuance by having him play a more important role in the plot. As an author, I agree with both of these critics. Dr. Morgan either should have been dropped or should have a more active and vital role. And I certainly would have taken one of these alternatives in the second novel, Outlaws of Mars, were this series really my own to work out as I pleased. You see, while the name Dr. Morgan is fictitious, the character is not. It was quite by accident that I literally dropped in on him one day while deer hunting in the mountains. It was a cloudy day, and I lost my bearings. I'd been foolish enough to forget my compass, so I climbed the highest prominence to orient myself. If you have ever met me, you will know that these were not tremendous mountains. Now that I'm letting you in on a long-kept secret, I must confess to further deception. If you will reread the opening chapters of the preceding books, you will see that while I've given the impression that Dr. Morgan's retreat was amidst high mountains, I've never said anything definite about the height. They were high enough for my own purposes of sport and exercise, and Dr. Morgan's purposes of isolation, but you may have been led to overestimate their eminence. I had all but reached the summit I was approaching when my feet suddenly slipped from under me. Gun and all, I crashed through something which felt and sounded like glass and struck a hard concrete floor. My right leg crumpled under me, and all went black. When I regained consciousness, I thought I was in a hospital, for two men in white garments were working over me. The younger man I took to be an intern. The other was indeed a doctor, as I was to learn. He was of gigantic stature, but well-proportioned and athletic, and of most striking appearance. His forehead was far higher than any other I had seen, bulging outward so that his shaggy eyebrows, which grew completely together above the bridge of his aquiline nose, half concealed his small, glittering, beady eyes. His close-cropped, sharply pointed beard, in which a few gray hairs were in evidence, proclaimed him as probably past middle age. When he had finished bandaging my fractured leg, which throbbed unmercifully, he dismissed his assistant, called me by name, and introduced himself. I am not yet free to divulge his true identity, so I shall continue to call him Dr. Morgan. "What hospital is this?" I asked, "and how did you find me?" "You are not in a hospital," he replied in his booming bass voice, "but still on the mountain in my retreat. My men are now replacing the skylight through which you fell." For nearly a month I convalesced in the secret, perfectly camouflaged observatory. When he learned that I was an author, he had learned my name from the mundane process of looking through my wallet, he asked permission to question me under hypnosis, promising to explain when he had finished, and assuring me that I need not worry about anything he would ask me. There are some human beings who inspire you with trust almost upon first sight. Dr. Morgan was such a person. I agreed, and I learned later that had he not been trustworthy, it would have been very easy for him to have tricked me into agreement. Actually, he would not have done it without my full consent, honestly gained. "I must ask your forgiveness," he said after the session. "While my impression of you was that you were both honest and reliable, I had to be sure that you did not have particular character weaknesses through which you could be easily led to betray confidences you really meant to keep. I have some material which would
Sample complete. Ready to continue?